The Common Policy Agenda is a tool that we hope can help garner the support of governments in Africa and Europe and to provide the systems, the support, infrastructure that makerspaces and makers need to thrive. I work with the FASTI Foundation, and on the MAKE project, I support policy research and dissemination for makerspaces in Africa and Europe. The most interesting parts of the Common Policy Agenda: one, that it highlights the impact of makerspaces as transformative forces for addressing challenges that we face in different contexts, especially in Africa and Europe. And number two is that it provides recommendations for government to already know how to support makerspaces in their context in terms of infrastructure provision, funding, integrating them in educational institutions.
The policy recommendations that the MAKE project is putting forward, based on the research that we've done with the Maker movement in Europe and Africa, is really about supporting everyone. The makerspaces have enormous potential and enormous impacts for young people, for education, for resilience in communities, particularly when traditional supply chains fail. So in disaster responses, or as we saw in the pandemic, they are really important for job creation and economic development, for new types of innovation to emerge. So really the policy recommendations that we're putting together to support makerspace ecosystems are about supporting everyone in society.
The policy that we've been able to create for makerspaces in Africa and Europe, and specifically in Africa, this policy is supposed to support makerspaces and for makerspaces to also improve upon the community. When we talk about the community, we can take the case of the educational sector. If makerspaces are being given the support that is needed, which has been adopted in the policy, it can be able to support the learners that are into engineering, that are into carpentry, that are into artwork. And this will, in a way, improve the work within the scope of our environment in Africa. Taking the case of also that of informal sector in Africa, where they lack proper standard of operations, proper tools and equipment. This policy is supposed to create an avenue for makerspaces to be equipped, and for the informal sector to also have access to these tools to be able to improve upon what they do. In addition to that, the policy is supposed to also support makerspaces to have available funds, especially in terms of having some collaborations with European makerspaces and even European institutions to get some funds, not only from via government but also from external sources, to support makerspaces for them to also expand into their community.
Makerspaces are a new type of actor group. They're really important in innovation ecosystems, places for education, for accessing technology, and for providing all different kinds of services that are very closely connected or could be public sector services. But often they're still out of the view field of policymakers. So part of the work we're trying to do in MAKE is to get visibility for this actor group in policymaking processes and to get a seat at the table. And in the next course of this year, we're trying to create different opportunities to do that by bringing together policymakers and makers. We call it ministers meet makers situations. We're trying to create connections between different level of policymakers and the makers and makerspaces. So we're not just looking at national level ministries or regional government associations. We're really also looking at the city and municipal level.
It's been interesting bringing in the European perspective and trying to merge it with the African perspective. So for us, it's an achievement having to engage 69 stakeholders from the two regions. We are hoping that we can get support from other people interested in the innovation ecosystem on how we could ensure that the policy recommendations can be adapted, can be adopted, and also we continue to exchange on how policies can support makerspaces.